Welcome back. It is a gorgeous spring morning here in North Idaho. You can see Shonda out there in the background, spreading out some grass seed. So I was feeding our chickens this morning, and I thought to myself, this would be a perfect time to make a video on what we feed our chickens and our ducks, because we have so many at different stages of their life. So we have chicks that are a couple days old, we have chicks that are a couple weeks old, we have chicks that are a couple months old, and we have chicks that are almost a year old. And we have some ducks that are a couple weeks, and some ducks that are a couple months. So I thought talking about what we feed them and talking about the levels of protein that we use would be a good opportunity to do it now while we have so many different life stages on the farm. I am not a professional. I'm not telling you what you should feed your poultry. I'm just telling you what we feed ours, okay? So if you disagree with me, that's fine, that's okay. What we have fed them now and in the past has worked for us. And we have raised several flocks of chickens and ducks. We've been doing it for a couple of years now. So this is what works for us. Maybe you like it, maybe you disagree. That's okay either way. Okay, so first up is our Cornish cross. These are our meat birds, if you don't know what Cornish cross are. Yes, they're fluffy and adorable and so cute. They are 3 days old. We just got them yesterday. And I can tell you, they already look bigger than they did yesterday. I am making a video. I'm in the process. I videoed yesterday, and I will come out with a whole instructional video on Cornish cross. Or today, we're just talking about all our chickens in general, okay? So these are meat birds. Don't worry, they will grow up to be ugly and smelly, and if you raise them, you'll be very eager to process them, okay? So what you want to feed your, whether it's Cornish cross or just day old, week old, couple weeks old chickens, is you want to start them off on chick starter. So there's several different types of chick starter. You can go, most people, especially if you live in an urban area or a suburban area, you probably have a Tractor Supply or some other type of national feed store, which is great. That's fine. You can get everything you need there. If you live in a more rural area like we do, you will most likely have a local feed store. So we get some of our stuff from Tractor Supply, which is right down the road from us, a few miles. But more often than not, that is in case of emergency. If we're running low, we just need to go grab a bag of feed because we weren't able to get to the feed store that day. Most of the time, 99.9% of the time, we're feeding all of our animals from one of our 2 local feed stores that grows it and mills it right on site locally. So the feed that we get from those local feed stores is just what they've grown. So oats, wheat, barley, anything. There's one feed store that I particularly like to go to that has anything you could imagine, they have it. But they'll add vitamin and mineral mixes to it for whatever that particular animal needs. But it's not a bunch of chemicals. So other than the natural minerals that they put in it, it's not a bunch of laboratory chemicals that you'll find in some of the more mainstream feeds. So that's why we choose to go there. They do not have organic, so we do not feed organic, but I just feel as though getting organic from a mainstream national company or getting all natural, non-GMO from a locally sourced mill, I feel that's a better option for us. That's what we like to do, so that's what we do. We've noticed a taste in both the meat and the eggs. We feel it tastes better to us. Maybe it's our imagination, I don't know, but that's what we do. So for chick starter, now we do have a bag of Nutrena from Tractor Supply. This is one of those that, put this up here. This is one of those that we had to run out and grab some. So this is what we grabbed. So this is 18% protein, 18% crude protein. And this is typically what you'll find in all the national feed stores is chick starter grower. So it's starter and it's grower, okay? There is a difference. It's 18% protein. This happens to be crumble. You can get crumble, you can get mash, you can get pellets. Pellets are bigger. They look like just what you think, pellets. Mash is smaller. It's made to be mixed with water and turned into a mash. You can also feed it dry though. That's okay because I do have some. So this is what I got from the local feed store. This is non-GMO chick starter, and this is 22% crude protein. So 22% compared to 18. So again, that's grower starter. That is more for the egg layers. Egg layers can, I'm hesitant to use starter at 18%. I would rather use 20% at least for starters. Now for Cornish cross, you typically do not want to go less than 22% for a starter. I will feed the starter all the way through for the Cornish cross. We have almost 80 of them. We have 78 we got yesterday. I will feed them 22% all the way through. So they'll be on chick starter for their entire lives. So that's where we feed our chicks when they're brand new. We feed them the chick starter, preferably 22%. Sometimes you'll find it at 20%. Most of the major feed stores will have starter / grower. They'll do it in one package. The particular feed store that we go to here in North Idaho, they have starter and then they have grower. So they split it up. So we can go down to 18%, which is also good for egg layers, not the meat birds, but the egg layers. After they're done, after they're out of the brooder and they don't necessarily need the starter anymore, and we're not trying to bulk them up that much, we're just letting them grow naturally, then we'll lower it down to the 18%. But for the chicks that are brand new, and then so these are our 3-day-old chicks. Here's our 3-week-old chicks. So these are silkies. There are silky chicks in here that are 3 weeks old. This black one right there that just flapped its wings, that is a mixed breed. That was actually born here on our farm. He or she, hopefully she, is 2 weeks old. There's a spider in there. So she's 2 weeks old. She's a mixed breed. We don't know what she is. And then the ducks are about 2.5, almost 3 weeks old. So they're all on starter, okay? They're still on the 22% starter, and once they come out of the brooder, we'll change it. But for now, they've got another few weeks in the brooder, and so they're all on the 22% chick starter. Again, when you say chick starter, you could be as low as 18, which I don't really care for. We're using that for something else. No, I'm not giving it to them. You could be 20%, 21, 22. For the meat birds, I've seen a Tractor Supply 24% starter, but that's not very often that I've seen that. So they're on the the 22% chick starter for now until they leave this brooder. Okay, so a couple weeks old, couple days old, they're all on chick starter at 22%. The ducks require higher niacin than the chickens do. So I add niacin to their water to give them that. If you don't give your ducks niacin, they'll have some leg issues. They definitely have leg issues. They won't be able to walk. You have to give them a higher amount of niacin than the chickens need. So there's niacin in the chick feed, but it's not enough for the ducks. So you can either add brewer's yeast, and you can go on Amazon and they make brewer's yeast specifically for livestock, for feeding ducks. And you can mix it in with their feed, or I find it easier just to buy powdered niacin supplement off Amazon, and I add it right to their water. So that's what I do for the ducks. These are our newborns that are here, all on 22% chick starter. So why do I have the 18%? Let's go talk about the 18% ones. Okay, so who do we feed the 18% chick starter to? So these next ones I'm going to show you. So those were at most 3 weeks old. Couple that are not a couple, but a batch that's 3 days old. And then we have a batch in here. They're not coming out. They're at 6 weeks old. Okay, they're just probably over 6 weeks, like maybe 7 weeks by now. It might be 7 weeks this week. They are on 18% chick grower, okay? So again, at any of the major national feed stores, you might find 18% is chick starter / grower. If you have a local feed store that sources locally. I am working. Talking to all my millions of fans, my 67 subscribers. So if you have a local feed store that sources local grains, hopefully you can do what we do, which is we get a 18% chick grower. So basically they split up the starter and the grower, whereas Purina and the other national brands will just say it's starter / grower. Okay, so we do an 18% for the 6-week-old, 7-week-old now. So they're almost 2 months old. And they're on 18%. So basically we've lowered it down a little bit. Now, could we keep them on the 22%? Yeah, they can be on chick starter. We've had other flocks where we kept them on the chick starter all the way until he'll do that all day. We've kept some chicks on the chick starter all the way until they started laying. So 4 or 5 months. And then we switched over to the layer feed. So the other chickens you see in there are full grown ones that are all, let's see, September. We got them in September. I think we got them at the end of August. So they're, whatever that is, 8 months old, I think. 8 or 9 months old now. So they're on layer feed. They're all laying. So we give them layer feed, which is at 16%. So layer feed has higher calcium, and they need that for their eggshell development. Now you can give them, I've heard some people will stick to a higher protein feed for their layers, and they will supplement with oyster shells. God. So these are oyster shells that you buy at the feed stores that are specifically for chickens, for developing eggshells, and they are just crushed up remnants of oyster shells. So they will eat those when they feel as though they need the calcium. They'll know if they need extra calcium or not. So we essentially double up on it. Basically, I took an old coffee can, or coffee, I guess they're not cans anymore, right? A plastic coffee can. So I cut a hole in it. I screwed it to the wall inside the coop, and I fill it with oyster shells. And they don't seem to eat too many of them. They will if they need them. So it's basically just a free choice if they want it. But since we give them a layer feed, they're probably not that deficient in calcium. Although that one there that's scratching laid an egg yesterday right in front of me, and she was, it didn't have an eggshell on it. It had no shell. So she was definitely deficient in some calcium. So I'm not sure if what's going on with that. Hopefully it's just a one-off. So what we choose to do with the layers is go ahead and I'll give them the free choice oyster shells if that's what they want. But I also give them the 16% layer feed that has the higher calcium in it. People will say that you shouldn't give roosters layer feed because too much calcium, it'll calcify their bones. Is that true? I don't know. I've never heard of it happening. I don't know. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but what are we gonna do? We have 3 roosters that eat out of the same feeders. So they're getting the layer feed as well. We also give some scratch grains in the morning. So that's what we feed the 3 different stages of the chickens. So brand new gets the 22% chick starter. Couple months old or out of the brooder but not laying yet gets the 18% chick grower. And then the full grown gets the 16% chicken layer feed. There is also, again, at my feed store, we have a free range layer feed. So I'm not quite, these are free range, but they're inside our garden area. We were free ranging them all over our 5 acres, but they were going into my neighbor's yard. They were taking off all day long, and I didn't want to lose them all, and I didn't want to be bugging my neighbors with my chickens on their property, so we fenced them into our garden area. So if I did that, I could have gone with the free range layer feed, which is even less protein because then they'd be eating bugs all day, which hopefully they're finding bugs in here anyways, because that's what chickens are supposed to eat. Bugs, not drugs and all that. No vaccines, no chemicals, just all natural. They should be out here eating bugs like they do all day long. So that's our 3 different stages of chicken feed, and also the duck feed. So you can get specific duck feed that is specific for ducks. At our local feed stores, they don't have that. That's why we give them the chick feed, the chick starter, and then add the niacin to that. If you get your duck food at one of the national chain feed stores, they'll have specific duck food that has niacin in it, so you won't have to supplement. Again, I would rather feed them the all-natural grains than feed them the stuff at the other feed stores. So that's why we do that. Now we do have one more to show you. We have some ducks that are, so those ducks are about 3 weeks old. And these ducks over here, so they're gonna run away as soon as I get in there. Ducks are very sketchy. They spook easily. My chickens have been around long enough to know that I'm the guy that gives them treats every morning, so they don't run away from me. The ducks are still scared, they're still young. So there's 2 bigger runner ducks here that are fully feathered. Okay, you can see them right there. They're tan and white. And then the rest of them are all still got their down feathers, and they're still growing out. So technically they should still be in the brooder. I think they're, well, if the other ones are 3 weeks and these ones are 5 weeks, the other ones are 2 weeks behind. So these ones are 5 weeks and then 2 months for the big ones. So 5 weeks, they still need the heat lamp. So I put them in the coop out here with the big ones, but they do still have the heat lamp on at night because technically they're not supposed to be out of the brooder yet because they're not fully feathered, so they can't maintain their own body heat. So anyways, so we still have them on the heat lamp, and these ones are all on the 18% chick feed, the chick grower that we get. And again, the niacin is supplemented in there for their bone structure, for their legs. When they start laying eggs, we'll switch over to the layer feed as well for them, just like the chickens. So eventually the 18% chick feed will get phased out until we raise chicks again, which I don't know if we'll do it next year or the year after, probably every 2 years, I would imagine. So eventually all the adult chickens and adult ducks will all eventually be on 16% protein layer feed. And whenever we get Cornish cross or any other meat birds, they'll all be on the 22% for their entire lives. And I think that's about it. If you got any questions or comments or agree, disagree, write in the comments down below. I just thought that we have so many different phases of ages here on the farm right now because it's springtime. I thought this was a good time to do this video, and talk about what we feed. Everyone wants to know what they should feed their chickens. Don't overthink it, because that's what I did when I first got chickens. I just completely overthunk it. It was like, what am I supposed to feed them? What percentage rate? It's just, you'll go crazy trying to do the absolute right thing. And if you read everything online, you'll drive yourself nuts. So I talked to the people at the feed stores. They all said the same thing. Like, just stick with this was at one of them. This wasn't Tractor Supply, but another place in California that was a chain feed store. And they would tell me, just feed the starter grower until they get to laying age, and then switch over. Once you see that first egg from any of them, then switch over to layer feed. So that's kind of the process that we do. That's the thinking that we have. So like I said, once they're out of the brooder, we'll cut back on the starter and we'll just go to the 18% grower, and then they'll eventually all go to the 16% layer. So the ducks and the chickens will all be on the same food. Like I said, we could get specific duck food that contains the niacin, and we won't have to supplement it, but I just would rather get the all-natural feed from the local feed stores, the local mills, and go ahead and supplement the niacin. I just think that's better for them, healthier for them. Summer, we'll have turkeys arriving on the farm. We will have 16 broad-breasted turkeys, which are meat birds. They're basically the Cornish cross of turkeys. And turkeys need 30% protein. That seems to be the general consensus of starter feed for turkeys is 30%. They need a lot more protein. 28 to 30% is the general consensus. So our local mill does not carry 28 to 30% game bird feed. The highest they have is 24%. So, hi, sweetheart. I'm making Shonda stay out there and work while I goof off and make videos. So this is what really happens. She works and I play on Tickety Talk all day. So yeah, so turkeys, our local mill, the highest, turkeys need game bird feed. They don't have turkey feed, they have game bird feed. And so the highest percentage that they have is 24%. So what my plan is to go to Tractor Supply, our local Tractor Supply, and they have 30% game bird starter. And again, they don't, it's kind of hit or miss when you go to those big chain stores. Sometimes they have it, sometimes they don't. So before July, when I start seeing it, I'll start buying it whenever I see it in there and store a couple bags away, because the turkeys will take 6 months to grow out, about 5 to 6 months to grow out. So a lot longer than the Cornish cross. So they'll start off on 30%. And after that, I honestly don't even know how long to keep them on 30%. I think it's a month, 2 months, I forget. But once I get to that point, I promise I'll research before I get to that point. Once I get to that point, I'll switch over to the local mill and I'll go down to the 24% for the rest of their lives. So that's what we feed. Maybe you agree, maybe you disagree, but that's how we do it here. It has worked for us in the past and it is working for us again this year. We're doing pretty good with raising our chicks. We haven't lost any, I don't know if we've lost any young ones. We lost a couple ducks, but that was within the first 24 hours of getting them. We definitely lose chickens every once in a while. Sometimes chickens just die. I'm trying to remember. I don't think we've lost any. Hopefully I don't lose too many Cornish cross. I know that's always a gamble. It's a roll of the dice. They all arrived yesterday. They were very healthy, very active. We got them from Jenks Hatchery in Oregon, and so far so good with them. So whatever we're doing, it seems to be working. Again, we're not experts. We're just starting out. We've been raising birds for 2 or 3 years now, and this is the first year on our farm that we're raising them. So we're still new to this, so I'm definitely not an expert. So any constructive criticism I welcome, but like I said, what we're doing, what we're feeding seems to be working for us so far. All right, so thanks for watching. See you in the next one.